I just think it's a massive day. It's created a huge amount of interest. The squad being announced live. It's an exciting day for the players that are chosen, for their clubs, for their national teams. And it's also understanding that there's going to be people who are going to be incredibly disappointed, and we understand that, and we appreciate that if you come from Wales, you're going to have a Welsh bias. If you come from Ireland, there's going to be an Irish bias, or England or Scotland, and that's perfectly understandable because you want to support your own nation. But once this Lions squad is announced, it's not about the four home nations, it's about one team and everyone coming together to support one team. 5 coaches we've had all have had a significant input and really robust debate about who we think should be in the squad. We're trying to get a balance between experience, some players who we think we can develop on tour, and players that will improve in that Lions jersey, and players whose form may not have been quite as good as we thought it might have been during the Six Nations, but have got credit in the bank in terms of what they've done or experienced in the past. The loose forwards was such a heavily debated discussion in terms of who was going to be selected, and trying to get that balance right between players who could compete on the ball, could take us forward, had some physicality and size, had some genuine footwork that we're going to need against the South Africans, could also give us a balance with being able to give us line-out options. So for Hamish, it's a thoroughly deserved selection, and I think it's going to make a huge impact, and it'll bring him on even further as a player. And I think he's going to give the other loose forwards some real competition on tour.
Lewis Rees-Zammit, Gloucester Rugby, Wales. I
think he's a young, exciting player he's burst onto the scene. There's no doubt that he's developed since he first came into the Welsh camp. He's taken his opportunities. He's got genuine pace, and we feel we can develop him even further on this Lions tour. Absolutely exciting for him. Hopefully he makes the most of his opportunities. Yes, we know he's still got things to work on in terms of his game. He's aware of that, but we think he'll hopefully go out there and be an absolute sensation.
Tadhg Beirne, Munster Rugby, Ireland.
For us, it's about picking players who have a point of difference and some X factor, and for him it's about his turnover ability. He gets a huge number of turnovers at the breakdown. He's outstanding at that. He's a big man, brings a physicality and a presence to the game, and so he absolutely deserves his chance.
Sam Simmons.
We've watched him pretty closely. He's quick, he's explosive, he's got real genuine pace. We can use him in different scenarios and different options of line-out moves, perhaps picking up off the back of the scrum and being really explosive off the back of the scrum. Hope Sam makes the most of it, and he's going to bring something a little bit different to a loose forward trio. The choice of Alun Wyn Jones as captain, I think, was a relatively simple one in the end. I've been lucky enough to have worked with him for a number of years. He was the only player in the Welsh squad who was there before me, so he's had a huge amount of experience, and I think in the last few years he's done an incredible job in terms of leading Wales. He has captained a Lions team in the third test in 2013, which was a pretty good performance. And for me, picking someone who's come from a team that's won the Six Nations, who has respect, who's been there and done that, it was a relatively easy decision. But also, when I rang him and asked him, he was pretty honoured to be able to accept it. But it was also the caveat, and the conversation was that your form needs to be good enough to be selected in the test side. But I think he thoroughly deserves it. I think he is a player that leads from the front. He sets a great example in training. He has a huge amount of respect. He's been there, done that, world record holder in terms of the number of test caps, and a great recognition for someone who's going to go on his 4th Lions tour, and and should be really proud of this selection. can honestly say that the coaches have been incredibly diligent in terms of looking at players, talking to other coaches about certain players and about their thoughts, looking at videos and past games, and trying to make the best decision that they possibly can. And everyone's not going to agree with the squad. Everyone's not going to have the same opinion, and that's perfectly fine. And we have to do what we think is the best job that we can to come up with a squad that we think can be incredibly competitive, that can go out to South Africa and win a Test series.